Note to self: look in mirror before podcast.
Wow.
How you doing?
Doing well. Whatever. It's Monday. We've got a big week.
We do?
A big poorly timed week, but a big week.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, Xbox launch. Tomorrow,
Right.
Apple Silicon event.
Quiz.
Also
Yes.
tomorrow, Petrie's Get IT User Management Day, which actually a couple hundred people have already signed up for, which is awesome. There'll be a link down below, and that'll be streaming all day. So like Wednesday, I think I'm just going to get hammered. I think that's the plan.
Yeah. Like I did on Friday. It was good.
What'd you do?
I continue to make good decisions, Brad. At least I do them from the safety of my own home. I don't know.
Well, that is good. Do you have more to share on that front, or is that just?
No, it's a different front. So obviously with the Xbox launch coming up, I've been trying to get up Xbox content each day. Saturday, I posted a couple of articles. I think one was about the storage issue, which, by the way, is a very serious issue.
It very much is.
Yeah. Related to the next topic, I spent much of Sunday installing just a couple of games on the Xbox One S.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost full. I've got 3 games on there.
Yeah.
This is a problem, And I was just going through the comments before we started, and someone said something like, well, you answered your own question. All you got to do is buy an external USB hard drive and put your backwards compatible games in there. It's like, all I have to do after spending $500 on a brand new console is micromanage storage by spending more money on an external storage device, and then me deciding where things need to be. No, I'm sorry. This is a problem. So anyway, games are too big. We all know that. But this is not what I wanted to discuss. Saturday morning, in the course of writing those 2 articles, I was on the Xbox One X originally. And in the middle of writing one of the articles, I ran into a problem where it stopped responding to the controller. And I was like, huh. And so the problem is it's a weird problem because you could press like the Xbox home button to go to bring up a menu, and then you could move the thing around to select items to then select with the A button, but they wouldn't select. So I couldn't launch apps or games. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't, that press and hold thing has restart and shut down options. Couldn't select them. So eventually I was like, well, I just got to get work done here. So let me get going. Now, the problem is, of course, I have the games I want to play on the Xbox One X. And when it was Sunday, I was like, oh, geez, man, I guess I should start putting some of the games I actually want to play on the S. So I started doing that. And that took all day. I didn't play games all day because it literally took all day. I actually went back to the Xbox One X at one point just because, whatever, I just wanted to play Call of Duty a little bit. Anyway, I worked on it some more Sunday. I couldn't figure it out. And so this morning came and I said, because I was thinking maybe there's a problem. Like they could deliver a system update in the background. It will solve it. Gave it a couple of days. Didn't solve it. And so this morning I got up and I said, well, I'm going to have to tell them. And I'm thinking, they'll probably replace it. It's probably not a huge priority. Maybe they won't replace it. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to react to this. Plus, I don't really like going to anybody with this kind of a problem. Like, hey, thanks for sending me this expensive device. It doesn't work. Anyway, started writing the email. I'm like, to the guy at the PR company, hey, explain the problem. This is what's going on. It's been 3 days now. I don't know. I can't figure it out. And it was sitting there, and I was just about to hit send, and then I was like, wait a minute, maybe I should tell him what I was doing at the time. And this is what I started to write. New paragraph. I'm like, by the way, when this thing first started happening, I was writing about how you can customize the controller, and then I was like, wait a minute. Because what I was writing about was how you can customize the share button. And then I had the epiphany that, like so many problems in my life, this was caused by me. So I paired a different controller to the Xbox. Works fine. Use that other controller to go into the controller app, or I think it's the Xbox accessories app. And sure enough, the A and the B button were swapped on the original controller somehow. I obviously didn't do that on purpose, but I somehow fumble fingered it at one point. So I don't know. I caused this problem. It was me.
Were you wearing headphones at the time too, just to make it all a bit sweeter?
Maybe, I don't know. But like, I've had a lot of experiences like this in my life. Like for example, the other day you told this story about how Wait, did you tell that on the podcast? This was a podcast story, right? The guy coming to you looking for.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure that
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
part of the thing.
yep.
So I love that story because you did the thing that so many people don't do, which is you think of the right response at the time. Like that's why that's beautiful. It's like the being able to come out with the right response at the right time is so great. But so many people, we all do this. We have these stories get like elevated in our minds. Like we're always the hero. Like I'm going to tell you how I did this awesome thing. I'm so great. I always do the right thing. And my stories are not like that. I mean, I'm sure I have some of them, but I mean, a lot of my stories are like, I'm just a freaking idiot. And like, I don't make mistakes on purpose. So you can learn from me, but I hope by communicating this stupidity, you will not follow in my footsteps. And, I have a lot of stories like that. But this is the latest one. And it literally just happened this morning. And at least in this case, because I don't think Microsoft could have remotely troubleshooted this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
Maybe they would have replaced it, and I'm sure they would have gone it back to a shop, and they would have paired a controller to it, and they would have been like, "It works fine. What's the problem?" You know what I mean? Like that's what would have happened. Pairing a controller is the one thing you can do with an Xbox, right? Outside of the UI.
Mm-hmm.
The reason it worked was because you didn't have to use the UI to do it. Someone, 20 years ago, was like, we got to tie the controller pairing to a hardware routine, because if we don't, there's going to be a situation where it doesn't work. Someone smart out there, Anyway, sorry. I revel in my own stupidity, I think is what we're trying to say.
It's okay. We always know the biggest downfall in your life is the man in the mirror. It's just the way things. It's just the way things work.
What is wrong with me?
I got a few guesses, but we're not going to go there.
Okay. It's like the ongoing therapy session that is our professional lives. Okay.
Oh,
what else is happening? Let's please move on from this.
What? Oh God, what am I doing? What was I looking for? For people who haven't seen it, see, I was going to play this back, but with the issues along the lines of copyright and other fun things, our good friend Justin has put together some hilarious clips of like overdubbing on Family Guy stuff, and if you go look on the Twitters, you could find those. I was going to play it back, but I was like, man, you know what? Fox has a lot of lawyers.
Well, I bet he's doing this and putting them on the web.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, on social media, I think is a little different, but I mean, you could argue that this is a commercial property and whatever.
I mean, I think, all right. Yeah, fair enough.
Just figured, whatever. So here we are. It is Monday. We've somehow survived the most beautiful weekend ever. Like, we need more of that. Unfortunately, that is not going to be happening, but.
Yeah, I saw your photo. It was just about as nice here as well. And even that morning, like we went out and it was like, man, it's like already nice. Like we had lunch outside, or brunch, I guess, on Sunday.
We had dinner outside last night. It was great.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Out on the deck.
It's nice.
Just perfect weather that's going to come to an end, and then it's just going to be cold misery. But you know what? At least we got one last good weekend. Hopefully, maybe we'll get more, but I'm not holding my breath for that one. So. Because we haven't talked about consoles enough, actually, I think this is really important, is the Ori situation on the Series S. The fact that Ori, now granted, you can't set this as a benchmark for every game, can do 4K 60 frames per second is a really big deal on the value proposition side.
I agree. So a couple of things to that. So obviously Ori is a certain kind of a game. So it's what we call a platformer, which is often like a sideways scrolling kind of adventure, whatever game. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful game. It's beautiful, but it's not. It doesn't have as many moving parts. It's not multiplayer. It's a single player experience, right? So, again, when you think about a Call of Duty or any other kind of a first person shooter or a game, like the new Assassin's Creed or any of the Assassin's Creeds, where you're kind of swinging around in 360 degrees. I mean, there's a lot more going on. So the thing that I think is great about the Xbox Series X and S is that they support variable refresh rates, frame rates, and you can, as a developer, ratchet things up or down in those moments and provide a great experience overall. So there's a squishy thing that goes on with these numbers. Like when I wrote my review of the Xbox One S, I basically said, look, this thing is locked to 1440p. 60 frames a second, and that's not actually true. It's not true, and I need to probably adjust that. These things they're variable, and that's why Microsoft, even on the Xbox One X, is not saying, "Look, we guarantee 4K 60 frames a second. Every game is going to hit this no matter what." They can't really guarantee it. The truth is, high 90% of the time, that is absolutely going to be the case. But there will be games that exceed that, like higher frame rates, even at 4K. There are games that are not going to be able to meet that because there's so much stuff going on and it's of such high quality, et cetera, et cetera. So the Xbox One S, same thing. I mean, they say, look, 1440p at 60 frames a second is, not guaranteed, basically. That's the target, but it's a soft target. And Ori is an example, a very quick example of how these things can be different. So that's something I'm going to look at on that console. I'm very interested. I will say, while my Xbox One X was down over the weekend, not because of my fault, it was not me, I did nothing wrong, but one of the games I had installed on there was the new Assassin's Creed game, right? Assassin's Creed Valhalla, whatever. And Microsoft put up a preview of this game on Xbox Wire, or maybe on Friday or something. And one of the lines really caught my attention because it said, "This game really looks and feels like a next-gen title on the Xbox Series X," which is an interesting thing to say because it's a cross-compatible title, and the experience will vary according to console. And I got to tell you, on the Xbox Series S, it's nothing special. It looks and feels like an Xbox One game, which, by the way, not bad. And I have, 60 frames a second, HDR capabilities. The screen I have is gorgeous. But running on an Xbox One S, it's fine. It's not bad, but it's not notable in any way.
Well, and I think that hits on a point too, that people should understand that like loading up older games on this stuff doesn't magically make them like, the Jesus game of some sort of technology or anything like that. Right, it's just going to make them better in the fringes, rather than like a holistically new experience by any means.
Yeah, I mean, your experience is going to vary by game for sure.
Yep.
There are things that happen with like a game like Call of Duty Black Ops 4, which is the game I play the most often these days, or Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the new version, where there's not a lot you can do with it right now. It's not optimized. It's not specifically optimized for the new consoles, and I don't think it ever will be. Why would they do that? They'll do that with new games. So what does that mean, like in real world terms? Like if you're playing it off the internal storage, you're going to see a little bit faster into the game. And by the way, much faster returning to the game. That's one thing, by the way, I should say. I should have mentioned this earlier. The new Assassin's Creed game on the S, when you return to that game from something else, it's like you're in the game. Like there's no little, hold on a second while we do some stupid little load. You're exactly where you were. Like that's that quick resume feature. It's amazing. That's not as good on the backward compatible games. It's a little faster. The problem is once you get into the game, it's like you ever watch a movie and there's like 8 animations for all the studios that are involved with the game, and for some reason the movie, and they'll swirl around and they do whatever they do. Video games are like that too, and the Activision games do that, and you still have to deal with that stuff. Like multiplayer. Look, everyone else is playing on an Xbox One, so they don't have any special speed. So the load times I've always found to be agonizingly long in Call of Duty to get in and out of a multiplayer match. It's just as long as it ever was because, again, they have to even the playing field.
Yep. One other thing that's worth pointing out, and this will be resolved quickly, is that I believe when the PlayStation 5 launches, you can't attach third-party or external storage yet. Like it's not enabled. And you can't, and the certified drives that will allow you to expand the storage, I don't think are available yet either. So just keep that in mind if you're getting a PlayStation 5. It's this week. And it's going to suffer from the same problems. Same problem as the Xbox. Yep.
Right. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I know why they're not doing this, I guess, but realistically speaking, if I could just arbitrarily attach storage to this thing and put any game I wanted on it and have it be slower, that might be a better choice for me personally for certain games that I'm not going to play a lot or aren't super important. I'd rather have them there. Having to manage storage is the problem. Like the fact that I can attach a drive, that's good. I can play backwards compatible games off of that drive. That's good too. I have to know that. I have to, think about that and put them in the right place. The fact that I can take a next generation game and kind of park it over there is okay. And that's something I'm going to test this week, by the way, because I want to see what that performance is like. But my God, these games, we're talking about games that are like 100 gigabytes or more in many cases. And what's that look like? I mean, you're going to free up space on the drive and then move something back over. Like, I don't know. It's a lot of work for an individual to do, especially, and the central issue here is not just, well, no, actually micromanaging it is an issue, but I just spent $500 on this thing as a customer, not me personally. But I mean, that's what, you're telling me that now I have to do this nonsense. It's just going to be a problem.
Yeah. I don't disagree. Well, at least those problems will be other people's problems, maybe.
Here's something to think about. So I don't know that. I wonder if there's a control in the software that will say, hey, it looks like you're downloading a backward compatible game, and it will put it on the legacy storage by default, right? That would be smart. But what if you downloaded a game and it was optimized for the new console, and you said, well, actually, I want to put it on this other storage device, and then it would say, you can do that, but if you do that, it's going to be optimized for Xbox One. It'll be the original version. Like, I wonder if, I don't know if that's...
So the only challenge there would be is that they do that smart delivery stuff, which potentially could, be expanded to exactly what you said. But I think the initial problem might be is that it's going to be like, hey, we're downloading on native storage. We're going to do the 4K. And then as soon as you copy it over to the other one, then it's...
What I'm saying is at the time of download, because I just haven't tried it yet. On an Xbox One,
I see what you're saying.
You can choose the
drive.
Right?
Yep, that would make sense.
I don't know if that's how it works, but I mean, it's something to think about. Anyway, it's a big issue, so I'll look at it more.
Yeah. It's going to be
like you'll get your console, right? You got an X, right?
Yeah.
So you have whatever couple of titles you're going to load up immediately. I'm curious to see what your console looks like in a day or two.
I will be too, because I will initially download Call of Duty, the current one with Warzone, so that's 100 and whatever gigs right there. Yeah, I'll download Apex Legends, which I don't know off the top of my head what that one is, and then I will definitely be downloading whatever the Black Ops one that's coming out. Right. That's going to be another 100 something like that. And then usually I have like a Forza or something, one of those racing games on there as well, that I just kind of play casually. So that could be half the drive.
That will take up a good chunk of it. They won't be. Yeah, you won't be full though.
Yeah,
I don't know. But a console, it's like, why can't I have 12 games on here or 15? Like it, it's these games have gotten very big.
Yes,
it is kind of a problem.
You're kind of a problem.
True.